was a few bands in New York, and there was literally like 2 bands, and there was about 20 people that were going to see these bands. It was the Scofflaws and a newly formed Mephistopheles, right? And there were only 2 bands that were playing. And it was like, this music's cool. You know, it was one of those things, it's underused, you know? Yeah. And I saw that they needed somebody, they needed some folks to do something good, because otherwise it was just gonna be forgotten, you know? And it was an untapped market. Now, California, ska and everything had been going for years. And it always kind of had a rough, you know, the amount of people that were interested, a certain amount of people. In New York, it had completely died off. The mid-'80s was huge. All the high school kids were into ska.
Mid-'80s?
Yeah, mid-'80s. There was bands like the A-Kings, Second Step, New York Citizens were like a later band. And it just so happened, it just went out of fashion, I guess, or something. Everybody grew up, and all the bands turned into funk bands. That's what happened. So there was no ska scene. There was nobody even into it, and we figured, sounds pretty cool. I just picked up the first Specials record. I was really getting like, this is good, you know? Met some kids, we were playing. They were showing me other records, the Jam. You know, I had been into punk for a while, so I was already like an Anglophile when it came to music. And I was like, this is cool. I'm like, let's do this. We can do this. I'm like, you know.
So you basically found this attractive because basically nobody was doing it.
Yeah.
Am I right?
Nobody was doing it. There was nothing for me to you know, go up against like an existing thing that was going to be like, you're not cool enough to hang out here. Even though they did say that, and even though everybody was like, no, this is what you're supposed to be like if you play this music. But I saw that it was all bullshit. I was like, whatever. We're going to learn some cool stuff. We're going to be this cool thing, and nobody's doing it. And we're going to do something different with the music, because there's a history here, there's some good stuff, I see some nuggets of truth in this, and nobody's following up on it. You know, really nobody was. And if anybody was following up on it, they were getting it wrong. And we all could see that, like there was a bunch of us around. You could see that there was something good there, because the Scatolites were playing at that time. And there was a few acts coming around, there was good reggae. You could see Sugar Minor and stuff like that. And some of the two-tone bands, like Bad Manners, was still traveling.
Yeah.
So you'd see like, you'd see kernels of knowledge there, that there was something cool, and then nobody was following up on it. They weren't quite getting it right. We didn't realize, you know, anything was happening until they did an article in the New York Times.
Exactly.
And they were at our show. And they said, it's obvious the bands like the Slackers are spearheading a movement. We were never accepted, you know, as a part of the cool movement at the time. And it was a good thing for us, you know? We weren't playing this, like, the music that was getting popular was this fast stuff. Chicka, 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 chicka. And everybody was like, this is the stuff, man. Everybody had a band, and they were all half lousy, and it was like, what the hell do we want to be involved with that for? And everybody was like, you know, Slackers, we don't know about them. People would stand outside for our show. You know, we'd have 3 bands playing. And they'd be like, the Slackers are on. That means it's time to go across the street and get a beer. You know? But you know what? In the end, it's good. It's better that way.
Yeah.
Because the kids that stayed inside, I know them all. When those other guys tell me, I was at that show, I'm going, I remember who was in the audience. There was 5 guys in the audience, and I know them all. You weren't. You went across the street to get a beer. You are not cool. We were all friends. The bands were all friends. And the bands all saw the vision. The Scofflaws, the Mephistopheles, us, we all had the Skinner Box guys. Yeah. We all saw it. And that's why things like Stubborn All-Stars happened and stuff. We were trying to figure out a way to make it work and get it so that we could make an impression on the world. Because the musicians all knew that something was going on. We were all good guys interested in making some cool shit. But how are we going to sell it to the folks? Eventually, we started attracting a crowd that was real different. That was just college kids and people that just liked music. And kids that just liked to hang out. And they got it. They got our vibe.
Yeah.
So they would clash actually with the kids that were like the skinhead kids, you know, and the crazy kids that would go hang out and see Mephistopheles. If we were at the same show with them, the skinhead kids would be like, "Who are these jerks hanging out at our show?" And then the kids that were coming to see the Slackers would be like, "Who are these scary skinheads?" You know, are they all fascists? You know. And we would be like, "No, look, meet each other, make friends." And eventually some of that worked. Some of them became friends and the scene got better. Because, you know, whereas there was a great scene in New York at one point with like punks and skins and all this stuff like that, it died out, it ate itself. They all got thrown out of the clubs. Nobody would have shows. And it was bands like us and some other bands that really attracted a wider crowd because we didn't mind hippies at the shows. We thought, hey, it's cool. Like that Wetlands place. Hippies were there, you know, and just regular kids and guys that were there to see some funk music the week before, and they liked the place. And I don't know, I think we attracted a wider bunch of people that were more like us too, you know? I mean, I loved the music, but I was never a skinhead. We were the subculture of the subculture. You know, we were the outcasts of the subculture. Even when I was into punk, man, the punks, even they were too fashion conscious. I wasn't wearing the right clothes to hang out with the punks. I mean, get out of here. What do you mean? You're a punk, right? You're supposed to care about clothes. You know? That's how I saw it. I've always been a purist, an idealist about these things. I was like, I don't understand, because I don't have a fucking ass flap. I can't hang out with you. Get out of here. My mohawk isn't like cool enough. You know what I mean? I mean, that was annoying, man. You know, me and Kim here were talking about the old hardcore scene. I mean, everybody was crazy, man. You know, it wasn't like I got a totally different impression of the whole thing. And then you try to make friends with people, and they were all looking at your shoes. It's like, what? What is that about?
You said that in a way you'd like to be part of a movement, but in the other way you don't like it. So, give me the elements. What is it that you like about it? What is it that you don't?
Yeah, I mean, it's nice to feel you're a part of something. It's nice to be involved with a bunch of creative people, or being, you know what I mean? You're in with a bunch of bands that you like. The bands, you feel people have taste, people have talent, and you feel like, yeah, cool, it's us against the world. There's all that crap music on the radio, and maybe we're gonna do something that's better than that, you know? And then it also sucks to be part of a movement, because then you gotta put up with being lumped in with a bunch of people and misunderstood in some ways, like as a ska guy. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I love ska. I mean, I'm never gonna say that I don't like it. But it's really frustrating to be lumped in with a bunch of bands that I don't like.
This gig you're gonna play tonight, probably they're gonna show up a couple of persons waiting to hear some ska. It's not going to happen.
Yeah.
So, is this annoying for you? This particular categorization?
Well, okay, see, think this too, right?
Yeah.
There's a good part of that, because if there's a bunch of kids show up and they're expecting to hear something that they think is ska, right? And instead they hear this weird poppy blues shit that I play, or whatever the hell it is, right? And some of the kids are gonna be like, oh, I didn't know that ska sounded like this, right? That's gonna be one bunch. The other bunch is gonna go, what the hell is this guy playing? We wanted to hear some ska. And then a couple of them will stick around and they'll be like, yeah, but this is pretty cool too, you know? And that'll work either way, because some kids will end up liking it, you know. And then they'll be like, hey, this sounds like this other band that I know, or hey, I heard some of this music on the radio once. And they'll be like, oh, cool. Hey, the ska guy can be interested in other kind of music. Maybe I can too.